He thought he could steal her work and her dignity, but she had a plan he didn't see coming. "Where the hell have you been? 3 days, Ada. No call, nothing. Do you know how embarrassing this is for me?" he hissed, pulling her toward his glass office. Inside, he slammed the door. "And what is this? Look. You look like you're going to a village meeting, not working in a top-tier agency. And the hair, it's unkempt." She stood tall. She didn't flinch. The air conditioning felt cold, but her blood was hot. "My name," she said clearly, her voice steady and resonating with the rich timbre she had tried so hard to suppress, "is Adaugo. Not Ada, Adaugo." Femi blinked, taken aback by her tone. "Have you lost your mind? I can fire you right now for job abandonment. You're finished in this town." "You could," Ada agreed, "but you won't." She pulled out a flash drive from her pocket and placed it gently on his desk. "Before I left the night of the awards, I backed up every file related to the Golden Palm campaign, every email draft, every strategy document with my timestamps, every concept note. Proof that the work was mine." Femi's face went a pale shade of gray beneath his dark skin. "I also have a screenshot of the text you sent me," she added calmly. "Sexual harassment and intellectual property theft. I wonder what the ethics board of the Advertising Practitioners Council, or even the gossip blogs, would make of that combination." The silence stretched, thick with tension. The predator had become the prey. "What do you want?" Femi snarled, defeated. "I want my name on the award record, officially, and I want my resignation accepted, effective immediately, with full severance." Femi looked at the flash drive, then at Ada's unwavering gaze. He knew when he was beaten. Adaugo walked out of that glass tower an hour later, unemployed, but lighter than she had felt since she first stepped off the bus in Djibouti. The Lagos sun hit her face, and for the first time, it didn't feel oppressive. It felt like a spotlight. But Lagos is not done with you just because you win one battle. Ada had reclaimed her soul, but she still needed to eat. The rent was still due. The calls from home, asking for money, would still come. Adaugo stood on the curb of her new reality. The euphoria of her victory over Femi faded quickly into the cold anxiety of survival. The severance pay wouldn't last forever in a city that swallowed money like water in sand. For weeks, Ada drifted. She applied for jobs, but word had gotten out. Femi, spiteful to the end, had poisoned the well. Difficult, unmanageable, troublemaker. These were the whispers that preceded her in interview rooms. Doors that were previously open were now firmly shut. The pressure from home mounted. Her mother called, sensing something was wrong in the way only mothers can. "Ada, my spirit is unsettled. Are you okay? Have you sent the money for your cousin's school fees?" Adaugo had to lie. "Yes, Mama. Soon. Just a slight delay with the bank." The shame burned her. One afternoon, sitting in her stifling apartment, counting her dwindling naira, she noticed the beautiful leather handbag she had bought. The guilt purchase. It sat in the corner, mocking her. She grabbed it, intending to sell it. As she emptied it, her hand brushed against the lining. It felt distinct, high quality, but familiar. She looked closer. The tag inside read, "Made in Italy." But Adaugo knew leather. Her uncle in the village was a master tanner and leather worker. She recognized the specific grain, the smell of the curing process. This wasn't Italian leather. This was Nigerian leather, likely sourced from Kano or Aba, repackaged and sold for 20 times the price because of a foreign label. A thought struck her, a lightning bolt in the darkness of her uncertainty. She thought about the talented artisans in her village and across Nigeria, weavers, leather workers, bead makers, whose work was exquisite but undervalued because it lacked the sleek Lagos packaging. She thought about her own skills, the branding, the storytelling, the digital strategy that had won awards for Femi. Why was she trying to beg for a seat at a table that despised her when she could build her own? The idea terrified her. Entrepreneurship in Lagos was a brutal sport. The infrastructure was non-existent, but the alternative, crawling back to a corporate world that wanted her soul, was worse. She started small. She traveled back east, not as a prodigal daughter, but as a business partner. She met with her uncle, the leather worker, and local weavers of Akwete cloth. "Uncle," she said, sitting on a low stool in his workshop, the smell of raw hide filling the air. "Your work is better than what they sell in the boutiques on the island, but nobody sees it. Let me show them." He was skeptical. "Lagos people only like foreign things, my daughter. They like stories, uncle, and we have the best stories." Ada returned to Lagos and turned her tiny apartment into a studio. She used her last savings to buy a decent camera and lighting ring. She didn't just take pictures of the products, she told their history. She created a brand, Home. Her Instagram captions weren't just sales pitches, they were lyrical narratives about the hands that wove the cloth, the ancient traditions woven into the patterns, the resilience of the Nigerian spirit. She wrote in English, but peppered it unapologetically with Igbo proverbs and concepts. She didn't hide her heritage anymore. She weaponized it. The first few months were brutal. Sales were trickles. She ate Indomie noodles almost every night. She had to dodge her landlord twice. Doubt was a constant companion, whispering that she was a fool, that she should have just taken Femi's abuse and the steady salary. But then, something shifted. A popular lifestyle influencer, tired of the generic foreign brands, stumbled upon Adaugo's page. She was captivated by the authenticity, the raw beauty of the storytelling. She bought a bag made by Adaugo's uncle and posted it, tagging her brand, Home. The notification on Ada's phone that day sounded like salvation. Orders started pouring in, not just from Lagos, but from Nigerians in the diaspora, in London, Houston, Atlanta, hungry for a piece of home that felt genuine. Ada worked harder than she ever did for Femi. She was customer service, logistics manager, content creator, and accountant. She hauled packages to courier services in the rain, haggled with delivery bike riders, and stayed up until 3 a.m. answering DMs from different time zones. But this tiredness was different. It was a clean tiredness. It was the exhaustion of building something that belonged to her, something that honored her roots. 6 months later, Ada walked into a high-end concept store in Ikoyi, an even posher neighborhood than Victoria Island. The owner, a sophisticated woman who usually only stocked European designers, had invited Ada for a meeting. Ada wore a jumpsuit made from her uncle's leather and Akwete cloth. Her natural hair was glorious and high. She didn't shrink when she walked in. "Your brand is disrupting things," the owner said, looking over Ada's lookbook. "It's painfully Nigerian, yet somehow chic." "It is chic because it is painfully Nigerian," Ada corrected gently, smiling. They signed a deal that day to stock products. As Adaugo left the store, she saw Mr. Femi coming out of a restaurant across the street. He looked stressed, older. He saw her, did a double take, and then quickly looked away, pretending to be absorbed in his phone. Ada didn't feel anger. She didn't feel triumph. She just felt a profound sense of distance. He was part of a past life, a necessary fire she had walked through to refine her gold. She took a cab, not to her apartment, but to the international airport. Her younger sister was finally having her big church wedding in Enugu that weekend. Ada was the maid of honor. As the plane took off, banking over the sprawling, chaotic majesty of Lagos, Ada looked down. The city glittered below, a beast of a million lights. It was still hard, still unforgiving, still expensive. It had taken her innocence, but it had given her steel. She was going back to the village, not as a failure, and not as a hollowed-out success. She was returning as Adaugo, the daughter of the eagle who had flown into the sun, burned her wings, and learned how to grow stronger ones. She had conquered Lagos, not by becoming it, but by finally being herself. If Adaugo's story inspired you, If it made you think about your own journey of identity and ambition, please share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to Tales with Nene for more immersive stories from across the African continent and beyond.